Hello everybody and welcome to the Punchboard Report. My name is Blake Ryder. Today we're looking at the Grand Carnival, designed by Rob Cramer and published in 2020 by Uproarious Games. The Grand Carnival is a family weight tile laying game where you're going to be designing the grounds for your carnival and then adding rides and attractions to those grounds and then ultimately sending guests throughout the carnival to use those attractions and scoring points in various ways. Let's get it set up on the table and we'll be back for some thoughts. Okay, so this is the setup for Grand Carnival. Now, this right here is the player board. Every player will have one of these. This right here is the communal board. That would be in the center of the table. Now, the game is played over the course of 7 rounds, as indicated by the 7 days of the week. And each round, every player is going to have five actions. Now, what makes the game interesting is that you have 3 actions to choose from whenever you do one of your 5 actions, but every round you will have 1 action that is a strength of 1, you will have 1 action that is a strength of 2, and a strength of 3, and so on and so forth. And what makes the game interesting is trying to figure out what strength you want to use for each of the 3 different actions you have to choose from. So what are the actions? Now, what we're doing here in the game is creating kind of a map layout and developing your carnival. So the first action is actually taking one of these tiles, these kind of landscape tiles, to create the general layout for your carnival. So if you take a 1 strength action, you see it says 1 face down. So you will only get one of the face down tiles if you take the 1 strength action. However, if say I took the 3 action, I could take the tile in the 3 spot or the 2 spot or the 1 spot. You can always take whatever action you select or less. So if I wanted, say, the 2 tile, I can use my 3 if I wanted to, and I could place it, anywhere on my board. So over the course of the game, we are going to be taking tiles and placing tiles and essentially developing the general layout for your carnival. Now you'll notice that I'm placing all the tiles with the hammers in the same direction because you cannot rotate them and place them in any direction you want. You have to place them oriented with the hammers that way. So what we're doing in doing this are creating different types of landscapes. The first type is this green, which are paths for guests to ultimately visit and enter your carnival. And these hammers are construction sites, which we're going to use to place attractions and rides in your carnival. So, like I said, first action you can do is take one of these tiles from the rail yard. The next action you can do is take one of these attractions. Now, these attractions come in different shapes and sizes, and this is just a small selection of the tiles that come with the game, but you can see they come in small, and these have a 1 on them because this costs a 1 action to take, or you can take the larger ones, and these have, for example, a 5. So you need to take a 5 to take one of those. But if I wanted to take a 3 and put it here, I could take a 3, a 4, or a 5. So I could take a 4 action and take my 3 tile. So, I might take a 1 action at some point in the game and place 1 here, and then I might later take a 5 action and then place 1 of these large ones over there. And one of the main scoring mechanisms is ultimately scoring sets and groupings of attractions of like sizes. So that's the next action you can do is take attraction tiles from the pool. The third action you can do is actually have your guests enter the park. And this works the exact same way in terms of which action you select. If I want to move 1 space, I can take my 1 action, move him 1 space. And what we're doing here is visiting and using the attractions in your park. So you see he's orthogonally adjacent to these 2 attractions. So if he stops there, we will take a ticket and place it there, and a ticket and place it right over there. And that would essentially show that this attraction was used and visited by someone in your park. And at the end of the game, you are only going to be scoring for attractions that were visited or used by guests in your park. So that is an important part of the game. Now, attractions could actually hold the number of tickets equivalent to the size of the attraction. So an attraction that is 1 can only hold 1 ticket, yet this one that is 5 large can hold 5 tickets. So over the course of the game, we're essentially going to be doing just this. We're going to be building these parks, and we're going to be moving guests into the parks. Later in the game, I might get this guy up to here, and that would put a ticket on both that one and that one. The only other thing you have to know in terms of gameplay is that once you have 2 of your little meeples in the carnival, then you take 2 more and you place them there. And beyond that, you then would place a barker, this little orange guy, somewhere, anywhere you want in your carnival. The barker, at the end of the game, will give you points. And beyond that, that also allows you to move 1 space further than you normally would move otherwise. So, for example, if I wanted to move this guy here, 1, 2, 3 spaces away, if I have a barker in my carnival, I can use a 2 action and still move it 3 spaces, and then I would get a ticket now on this one and that one. And that's really the game. The only other thing, the last thing, are these cards. And these cards are actually very cool. These are kind of special ability cards that once you accomplish a certain task within the game, you then will get a special ability. So, for example, this one will give you, if you have an attraction with 3 tickets on it, then your guests can actually move on to construction sites as opposed to just the pathways. And what makes this actually a very cool mechanic in the game is that the first person to accomplish this, so hypothetically here I would have with my 3 tickets, the first person to accomplish this would get that ability, and then after that happens, everyone else playing the game has 1 more turn on their next turn to theoretically accomplish the exact same thing. And if they do, they also will get the ability, but if they don't do it on their very next turn, then they have no possible way of getting the ability, and that one is essentially only belongs to the person or people that the first person that got it plus anyone else that accomplishes it on the next on their next turn. And that's the game. And then at the end of the game, we score, and scoring is right over here outlined. Now, one thing to note is that, again, you only can score attractions that have tickets on them, because that thematically means that, you know, someone used the attraction and visited the attraction. So a empty attraction at the end of the game will not score you anything. So first scoring mechanism is a set of attractions that have tickets. So a set of 3 attractions that is a size 1. So one of the ones that are 1 tile would be worth 3 points. However, if you have a set of 3 attractions that are 5, much like this one, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has a 5 on it. Set of 3 of those would be 18 points, but a set of 5 of them would be worth 35 points. You know, and a set of 3 attractions that are 3 big would give you 8, and a set of 5 would give you 19. Beyond that, if you have at least 1 of each attraction type, of course, with tickets, that will give you 22 points. You will also get points by guests that visit the big top. So once you get your carnival designed, and you can walk them up to that colorful big top at the very, very top of the carnival, you will also get points, again, for number of guests in the big top. As you see, if you have at least 4, that's 15 points, and 1 guest is worth 1 point. Beyond that, if you have at least 15 tickets on your map, you'll get 12 points, 3 points per carnival barker, and last but not least, you will lose 1 point for every uncovered hammer. So that would be -1. If I did not have that there and the game ended, I would be -5 for that spot. So ultimately, you want to cover these hammers up and cover them, or else you're going to lose 1 point per hammer that is uncovered. And that's it. That's the scoring. That is how you play. This is a good game, guys. This is a really, really good game. Spoiler alert, I really liked this one. Let's get into it. So first, this game is so tight. There is no wasted mechanics, nothing wasted. Everything integrates so well. All the different main actions integrate with each other and integrate very well with the theming. You really feel like you're designing the carnival. It all works so well. You know, you have to have the tiles to lay out the grounds, to lay out the attractions, to send paths and people in the paths, and it just works extremely, extremely well, thematically speaking. And I love the barkers and how the barkers make you move 1 space forward. In my past life, I used to do stand-up comedy, and I used to be a barker trying to get people to come into comedy shows in New York City. And I could tell you, when you're a barker, you definitely get people to, you know, move quicker, usually in the other direction, but nonetheless, they're still moving quicker. And I think it really works thematically speaking. And I love the mechanic in this game where you get 1 action of 1 strength, 1 2 strength, 1 3 strength each round, because it really creates good tension. It's like, when are you going to use that 5? Because you may have been planning, you know, to use that 5 on an attraction that round, but then all of a sudden a perfect shaped landscape tile comes up and you have to use your 5. And it's like, am I going to use that now? And then it kind of forces you to kind of look at what your opponents are doing. There's not a ton of interaction in this game, certainly not a ton of direct interaction, but you definitely have to be mindful of what your opponents are doing, especially if you guys might be going for the same shaped attractions or you are both going for the same ability card, because if one person gets there before you and you need another 2 turns to get there, that can ruin your entire strategy. There's 14 or 18 of those ability cards. I think it's 14 of those ability cards in the deck, and that really creates a good, different experience each time you play. It forces you sometimes to try different strategies if you want to achieve those different abilities. And overall, the interaction level between players is just right for a family weight game. Overall, the artwork and the components, really, really good. I love this artwork. It really sucks you in. It's really, really well drawn. Ryan Goldsberry was the artist. Really, really nice art. I like these boards. One thing, though, on the components, the guest meeples, when the box arrived, a bunch of my guest meeples were cracked. And I had heard about that before getting the game, and I heard people had issues with that. But I reached out to the publisher. They sent me brand new ones, no questions asked. So, good for them for just making good on that. But just note that may be an issue if you get the game and that happens. However, like I said, the publisher handled it, no issues. I love how I can also play this game with a lot of different people. It's right in a nice, that light middle weight, family weight game, and I love games in that genre, in that family weight genre, because I love playing games with people that are not necessarily gamers and showing them this great hobby. So this is a really good one for that, because you really feel like at the end of the game you've built something and you've accomplished a really cool, you did a really cool job on your board, regardless of whether or not you win or lose. You feel like you built something that's really, really fun. So I like that. Frankly, I also think there's enough in this game to keep seasoned gamers, immersed. They're not going to be bored. There's enough to think about for someone who's, perhaps more accustomed to heavier games to really get in this game and really get immersed in it. So I think that's also really nice. So, overall, definitely a game I think it's worth checking out. And if this piqued your interest at all, I recommend picking up a copy. Really, really enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.